Peter goes fishing. He is risen. He is risen indeed. What do the days after resurrection look like? For the followers of Jesus, there has been excitement of this revelation, elation, and some grand celebration. But there has also been uncertainty, confusion, and questions. Where do we go from here? What is it exactly that we are supposed to do now? How do we proceed? How do we move forward? For some of the disciples, part of the answer lies in going back to what they are certain of, what they know, what they can do without thinking. They go back to their roots. They go back to the family business. They go fishing. The beauty of the story is that in the middle of their search for meaning, as they search for what's next, they have another encounter with Jesus. For Peter, part of the uncertainty and confusion is that he is finding himself living with the reality of his betrayal of Jesus on that fateful night. Peter followed Jesus all the way to the high priest's hall. He was free not to go, but he went out of loyalty. Once there, he was free to agree with the bystanders that he was one of Jesus' followers, and he was also free to deny it. He denied it. And once he had used his freedom that way, he was no longer free. He was crushed by his mistake, by the way his proud boasting of a few hours earlier had been shown up. 3 times they asked him, and 3 times he denied knowing Jesus. Yes, it was stressful. Yes, he was frightened, but is that any excuse for his behavior? How can he live with himself? So, he goes fishing. And fortunately, there was Jesus on the shore, cooking breakfast and encouraging the fishermen. "Cast your net on the other side," he says. "Things have changed. Try something new and different." And then, resurrection life comes to Peter. Reconciliation. New life, new creation from the hands of the Creator, as Jesus asks, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." "Then feed my lambs." That's 1. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, you know that I do." "Then tend my sheep." That's 2. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" At this point, Peter is grieved because Jesus has asked the 3rd time, "You know everything, Lord. You know that I love you." "Then feed my sheep." That's 3. And for Peter, it is finished. A week earlier, at a similar charcoal fire, there were 3 questions, 3 denials, and Peter has lived with the shame of that moment and that decision. As he faces the darkness of his past and finds redemption, the process causes him discomfort, but he is liberated, forgiven. He now has new life. Jesus has reconciled him, forgiven and restored him, saved him from the thralldom of sin, death, and decay, and set him in charge of the new family business. More than a fisher of men, in this moment, Peter's vocation changes from fisherman to shepherd, following in the footsteps of the Good Shepherd. Following. The last words Jesus speaks to Peter in the book of John. Follow me. Resurrection life. This is where we live when we follow Jesus. Julian of Norwich tells us God wants us to know that he loved us before he even made us, and his love has never diminished and never will. Eugene Peterson tells us that Peter finds out that the Christian life does not consist in achieving great things for God, but in allowing Jesus to use our inadequacy and failure to rehabilitate us to a life experienced as grace, love, and obedience. He is risen. He is risen indeed. Let it be so.